privilege requested that you take a seat. Jill's a school teacher, and she's getting real nervous now because class starts in 3 minutes. There are people wandering the halls, people having fun and chatting and reminiscing. So Jill's getting real nervous, so she asked me if I'd ask you to kind of start working your way to a seat somewhere. We need a separate table for the Hollies, apparently. Over here is Jan Nelson.
That one, skinny one.
Oldest, obviously. Back in the shiny light there is my brother Kent Nelson. He's the youngest, and Mike is right over here. There's 4 of us left. I've had a hard time sleeping the last couple of weeks. Not because Jamie died, but because I was wondering which one of us is going to be next. Now the obvious choice is Jan. Jan's the oldest, and he had a bad case of cancer that he beat. But on the other end, Kent, who's the youngest, you'd think would have more longevity, but the doctors pulled part of his colon out and removed half his face because he had some sort of cancer. So that leaves Mike and myself, and Mike himself would admit that he lived a rather wild and, death-defying early adulthood until he straightened out his ways. And I've had a number of surgeries and recently had my kidney out, so it looks like Mike may be doing the eulogy at my funeral, which isn't all bad because he's a great speaker. But we're here to remember Jamie today, and Jill asked a few people to speak, so the first one that we're going to have up here is the oldest brother, my brother, Jim.
This is really good. He's having me speak first after he says I'm going to die. Anybody know CPR in case I keel over up here? I hope. Jeez. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Kelly on giving the shortest speech he's ever given in his life. Kelly hasn't always been full of facts. Sometimes he kind of makes up his own as he goes along, but he did have one fact. Yes, Jamie died. And that's why we're here. And this is going to be kind of weird because, when you have memorial services, a lot of times it's one of those things where a lot of detail is spent on going into all the wonderful, pleasant memories, which is good. You should have that. But we're Nelsons. And Nelsons have probably been known to be irreverent for many generations back. So you're going to have to bear with us. This could get ugly at times, but we'll try our best to be good. Now, we're supposed to keep it short, so I kept it down to 8 pages. We may, Kelly, just get the hook if you have to. I'll try to hold it down this way. Oh, really? Okay. No, Jamie had a rough life, and so I'm going to deal mostly with the early parts of her life, and then Kelly Catherine will get a bunch in here. We'll have other speakers take care of the other part, but I'll deal with the early part. Some of you may know about the Nelsons and the McMurrans, but some of you might not understand what our family was like. When the Nelsons, Jim and June, got married, June's big thing was, I don't want to have kids. Honest to God, she never wanted children. So anyhow, they were married in January, and in December I was born. I should have stopped them from having kids because when I was born, it was a forceps delivery. And my mom was in labor a long time, and then they got, well, Otto Ringley's dad was a doctor, and he got the old clamps, and he pulled me out, and my head was pointed. I had a cone like you wouldn't believe. And my dad, after I was born, left the hospital, where the brewery is now, by the way, how fitting. Left the hospital, walked up the street to my grandma's, and my grandma said, Jimmy, what is it, a boy or a girl? And my dad, honest to God, this is the truth, my dad's words were, I don't know it, but it's the ugliest damn thing I've ever seen. Welcome to the world, Jan Nelson. My mom kept my head covered with a blanket for a long time until the lump went away.
You gotta get to the Jamie part.
I'm going to get to it because I want to show just how brave my parents were. 1 year and 6 days later, they had another kid. My mom, who didn't want a kid. Max. A year and a half after that, they had another kid, and that was Jamie. Curly-haired, cute little kid, nice, sweet. Their lives were fulfilled. This is it. They had their daughter. They coddled her. It was nice. For about a year and a half, and then came Mike. Now, if you know anything about Mike's early years, you'd think that really would have done it. But nope. Another year and a half, Kelly. Almost 2 years later, Kent. And that's when my mom finally gave up and said, no more, this is it. So we had this nice, sweet little family, and you know in the old movies and TV, you've got the family that has mom and dad, mom in her apron and her dress, and dad in his suit and tie, the Cleavers, dad going to the office. They have this nice, pristine house, everything's beautiful like that. We lived in a basement with an unfinished upper level. My parents had one bedroom. There was a big open room with an open wooden floor that had a little hook in it where Jamie slept and the other boys were in the other part like that. The yard wasn't manicured. Our yard was gravel and sandburrs. We had a dog. Over the years, we had many other animals that went along like that. So here's Jamie, stuck with that. 1 girl, 2 parents, 5 brothers, and 1 stinking bathroom in the whole place. And she put up with that for years and years and years. It's amazing how that went on like that. We were not exactly nice kids. Jamie was coddled because she was the only girl. And because of that, we older boys, Max and I especially, resented that. So Jamie would get dolls, Max and I would invent games. One game that we did, I still remember, it was great because she hated us for that, was we played Car Crash Barbie. She had a Barbie car and a Barbie. We got a whole lighter fluid, poured lighter fluid on the car, and the Barbie lit on fire and threw it over the cliff. Played Barbie Died. We played War Barbie, where we'd amputate the legs and arms from terrible wounds like that. Jamie didn't like us. Can't understand why. Yeah, it was tough for her, but she persevered that way. The good news was that she had a grandpa and grandma. Grandma Babe and Grandpa Martin that really loved her that way, and she spent a lot of her time up there. She was a normal kid, as normal as you could be living in a family like that. She was a Girl Scout. Hard to believe. She belonged to what was called the Junior Auxiliary at the time. It was where kids of Legion members could do things, and they'd sell the poppies on poppy days, and they'd do all sorts of things like that. I'll never forgive her for belonging to the flower club or the garden club, because they had a garden club, and I don't know why Jamie didn't even garden then, but she belonged because friends did. And at the 4th of July parade, they had the girls all parade down the street, and they had this wheelbarrow full of flowers. My brother Max and I, who were in Boy Scouts, were supposed to be marching with the Boy Scouts, got to push the wheelbarrow. Thank you, Jamie, for belonging to that. Yeah. Life was pretty good for Jamie when she could avoid us at the house. As she grew older, she grew braver. She had to, because Mike was known to like things that Jamie didn't like. For example, Mike liked animals. Mike got a tarantula. Yeah, imagine how much Jamie liked that. Now, tarantulas are really quite nice little animals. They're silky when you pet them. They're really silky, and they're fascinating to watch, because you put crickets in the cage, they go like this, they jump down and suck the guts out. Jamie didn't think that was cool. Seems to me that there was a rumor of that, based on fact, that the tarantula, when it was dead, ended up in Jamie's bed. Mike got a snake named Ralph. Ralph was a boa constrictor. Ralph escaped. Jamie moved to Andrew's house down the street and was gone for 2 days till Ralph showed up again. Jamie had nervous times like that all the way along. It was kind of tough for her, but she hung in there as best as one could. When we think of the things that Jamie did to entertain us, she was a giving person. We didn't have much money. We didn't have any real fancy toys, but Jamie, being the only girl, got the first new bike in the entire family for her birthday. It was the end of May. Jamie gets her bike, and where we lived at the end of 5th Street, you go up to the football field, and Dad and Mom made us all come out to watch Jamie ride her new bike down the hill. We all went out there to watch, and Jamie came pedaling down the hill from up at the field on her bike, going like crazy. Hadn't learned yet how to turn the steering or the handlebars and how to put on the brakes, and she blasted right into the oak tree on the corner of the yard there. We thought that was the best entertainment we've ever seen. Jamie didn't have much luck with us. Jamie was never known for being graceful. Jamie was babysitting across the street, doing a good thing as usual, taking care of other people, babysitting the Burns kids. Fell on a step and broke her leg, and had to be bedridden for the first about a month of school, I believe it was, maybe even a little more than a month. And we thought that was good entertainment, because she was in bed all the time and had to have a tutor, and the tutor was our preacher's wife, and the preacher's wife was not somebody that we cared for. It was great. But it was one of those things where she learned to love us somehow. She always had plenty of good friends to go to turn to when she needed somebody to turn to. Well, heck, several of those friends were with her throughout the high school years. After Jamie got through all of those years of living with us, she grew up, and she was busy. She went to college at Brainerd. She went to college at Bemidji. She's worked all the time. She always was a very, very hard worker. And life was still hard, but then she got the greatest joy in her life, and that was Jill. And it was kind of amazing how this little curly-haired kid got born there, and of course, Jamie was curly hair too. And Jamie just doted on her and loved her. And part of it was she had to love her because poor Jill had these horrible Nelson uncles around. So Jamie had to really be the protective mom and make sure that nothing happened to her. And she worked hard at it. She kept Jill safe from us all. You have never seen anything that you need protection from like the Christmas at the Nelsons. Christmas at the Nelsons was a terrible time. I mean, it was wild and crazy and nutty like that. So Jill had to be protected from that. That was the first real big high in Jamie's life. She had lots of highs and lows, but I think that was the ultimate high for her right then. She had lows when our brother got killed and in Vietnam, and when our dad and grandpa died real close to each other like that. Jamie was really down. She was having a tough time like that. So she needed something like Jill to be part of her life, and it worked out beautifully like that. Then Jill and Jamie were in Walker, growing up, living around the Nelsons. And Jill finally met somebody that made Jamie even happier. And I'll probably get emotional here because I can't help it. Jeff, boy, Jamie was so happy when Jill met Jeff because you couldn't ask for a better son-in-law. It was just incredible. For those who don't know Jeff, this guy is, well, he's just amazing in so many ways. He's amazing because how many sons-in-law would take in an ailing mother-in-law who could be sarcastic, believe it or not, who could be critical of things from time to time, and then do the things that he did. When Jamie got down there, they remodeled their house so that it would be easier for her to get around. Now, sometimes Jeff had good intentions that could have used a bit of tweaking. For example, they got a beautiful room set up for her, and Jeff wouldn't want her to be hurt, so he rigged up the room with a portable fire escape ladder inside the house. So all you had to do in case of a fire was take out this ladder, throw it out the window, and scramble down the ladder to safety from the second floor. Here's Jamie attached to an oxygen hose, who could barely move, much less pick up the daggone ladder and throw it out the window like that. But he meant well, that's the thing. Jeff did some things that did work. Being a techno freak, he rigged up that house that Jill could answer the door and unlock the door and everything from the comfort of her chair, which is really, really nice. He made sure that she had a great view of the backyard because they had a neighbor, still have a neighbor, right? That used to give Jamie the most entertainment. She called him Speedo Man. Likes to do yard work in a Speedo. Doesn't have the body for a Speedo. But Jamie enjoyed that. So she'd write all sorts of fun stuff about Speedo Man. It was wonderful that way. Then after a while down there, well, I shouldn't say that. I need to back up a little bit. One of the other joys in her life was grandson Rowan. She had grandson Ian earlier and grandson Owen down there. Now Ian was the one that she had to really protect when we were at the Nelsons because, believe it or not, when Ian was a little boy, he learned to play football at the Nelsons. He was the football. The Nelsons would throw him around at Christmas time, play catch with Ian, and for some reason, Jamie would get a little nervous about that. It's hard to believe. Joe would get nervous too. Then came Rowan, and Rowan, you never got tossed around like a football, did you? No. You missed out on life. But Rowan was another great thing for Jamie because Jamie, being totally inept on electronic things, would have trouble on computer or phone, and there's Rowan to the rescue like that. She had a good life down there. Jeff's big thing that he did that was way above and beyond the Call of Duty, though, other than all the wonderful things he did for her, was he would stop at this restaurant and get liver and onions for her, which she truly loved. He'd sacrifice that way. He was a wonderful one that way. Jamie's years down there were great. I had more to do with Jamie as far as conversing with her once she was down there living with them than I had for many years before that because we just bounced back and forth. We'd be sharing ideas back and forth. And as we get older, you know, you have a hard time recalling names, so we contact each other to say, do you remember so-and-so? No. Do you? Well, I think so-and-so lived there, you know, that sort of banter that went back and forth that way. And it was fun. And we'd go down and visit, and it was really, really pleasant. I think she was truly happy there. It was a wonderful place to be. Her COPD got to her finally, and it was a battle. She'd had struggles, but she was so happy down there, maintained that happiness all the way through like that. When it was nearing the end, Jill called and said that she's not going to last long like that. And so I was going to drive down there, and I started driving down there, and I got a call from Jeff partway down saying that she'd passed away. And so I drove the rest of the way down there, and I walked into the hospital, and just goes to show how things go. As I walked into the room there, one of her old childhood friends was holding her hand, sitting there, and was with her. Peggy Anderson was with her that way. Those connections that she had were really something. She had her old high school friends for life. She had the Chase gang. She had the Walker people that were just ordinary people that she met all the time. She had the bunch from Grandma Joe's when she worked up there. She was really something. She was so smart, so incredibly smart, and such a wonderful writer. If anybody ever saw any of the stuff that she posted on Facebook and so on, it was just incredible. She could make things come to life like nobody you know. She would tell you what she thought. I think she took after Mom that way, because our mom was definitely one that told you what she thought. But she loved people, and she loved the friends that she had. She loved being able to live here. She loved being able to live down there with her family. She had a good life that way. It was cut too short, but it was really a good life. I told my wife when she passed on that I feel like I lost half my brain because of the fact that we could share things with each other all the time like that. And that's the hard part, you know, knowing that you don't have that one person you could contact to be able to tell you the things that you want to know. That's gone, and so I'm really going to miss that a lot. But it's one of those things that life goes on like that, and I hope that everybody enjoyed her as much as we did. I know that she really loved her family, and she was so blessed to have a family like she did. Not the Nelson boys, but the rest of the family was really so blessed that way. So thank you all for coming in. I thank you for coming in and honoring her memory. Kelly, you're going to have to give the next part here. Kelly Catherine, who had to put up with her for a long time too, is going to be next. Come on, Kelly.
I thought he was joking when he said he had 18 pages and he was talking about me being long-winded.
Yeah, I know.
We're talking about some of the old Walker people. Now, Roger Strandley knew Jamie from band, and that's been, what, 60 years or something? No, 50.
Yeah.
And Otto Ringley, as Jan mentioned, his dad delivered Jamie in the old hospital right here in town. Carl Berg and his wife Judy over here, they've been here since, I'm not saying Carl's old, but his social security number's 4. Anyway, Kelly, it's interesting, Jill's choice of speakers. I think Kelly will have a totally different perspective, obviously, than what Jan has, and I look forward to hearing her. Nice thing about Kelly is she's a trained orator.
Yeah.
Not college and everything. I mean, state speech champion in high school, and then went on, and I mean, this girl knows how to talk, and she'll keep you entertained. More importantly, she knows how to keep it short. I know Peggy's getting hungry over there. Both Peggy's. Not you, Peggy James. Peggy James.
Alright, thanks. Alright, so I'm the other Kelly Nelson. My dad is Mike, so that makes Jamie my aunt. So I'm Jamie's niece. A quality I've always admired about my Aunt Jamie, and Uncle Jan kind of said this, was her don't give a damn attitude. Indeed, anyone who knew Jamie knew of her tendency to just say it like it is. So an example is, growing up, we had a family friend named Donna Mae. She was an elderly woman, and she had this little black dog, or what Jamie would probably call an ankle biter. And I remember I was young, probably about about 5 years old, and whenever Jamie talked about Donna Mae's dog, she always called it Ish. So as far as I knew, Donna Mae's dog was named Ish. I didn't think anything more of it until one day someone was talking about this dog named Fritzy. And I'm like, who? And they're like, Fritzy, Donna Mae's dog. And I'm like, no, Donna Mae's dog is named Ish. That's what Jamie always calls it. So you've probably figured out by now that Donna Mae's dog was indeed named Fritzy. And my Aunt Jamie just went ahead and took creative liberty there to rename him to something she deemed more fitting, the old lady's feelings be damned. So whether it be from Ish or Jamie's tendency to always park on the wrong side of the street facing the other way, to showing up to our family Christmas every year wearing a "It's a Girl" sweater, we'll certainly remember Jamie as someone who wasn't afraid to just say it like it is. Now, I wouldn't be doing our memory of Jamie justice if I stood up here and I didn't talk about what is perhaps her best known quality, and that was her incredible sense of humor. So growing up in a small town with an aunt like Jamie meant that she often used her sense of humor to make sure that my head didn't get too big. Now, to illustrate this one, I was probably in about 9th grade, so at the height of trying to look really cool in front of my friends, and my high school civics class was going on a field trip down to the Cass County jail to learn about the county legal and judicial services, because that's just what you do in Walker, to learn. That's your field trip. Now, many of you probably remember that for several years, Jamie basically ran the show down there at the jail in her position managing the jail's kitchen. So I remember we're on this class field trip, and we walked by the kitchen in the window where Jamie is, and being a cool 9th grader, I just did like a quick little wave and then immediately tried to just hang out with my classmates. And well, you know Jamie, she's not a woman who just does a quiet, shy wave. Later came to regret this. So my class finished the field trip and we're exiting the jail when all of a sudden this deranged woman starts chasing after our class, hollering, "Excuse me! Excuse me, one of our inmates is trying to break out of your jail! Kelly Nelson, you get back here! She's trying to break out of the jail! You're getting one of our inmates!" And I'm just... Needless to say, when you grow up in a town this small, with an aunt with a sense of humor as great as Jamie's, you quickly learn how to develop a sense of character, if nothing else than as a mere survival strategy. But I mean it though when I say that every kid should grow up with an aunt like Jamie. I think her other nieces and nephews would agree that as far as aunts go, we were pretty lucky. Aunt Jamie was the one who showed up to family Christmas with lottery scratch-off cards for all of us, with clear agreement that if any of us struck it big with the jackpot, we'd split it with her. Back when she worked at Dahlem's restaurant, my little brother Daniel and I knew that Aunt Jamie was always good for sneaking leftover French silk pie into our house, and she only managed to get it past my dad because she promised him it was just dog poop. I fondly remember we used to do childhood trips with Aunt Jamie down to Paul Bunyan Land, back when it used to be in Brainerd. And on one particular trip, she took a young Daniel and I down there with this little girl who was a family friend, I don't remember who, but Jamie would be the first to tell you she was kind of a spoiled brat. So we were on the hour drive back from Paul Bunyan Land, and this little girl, we'll just call her Katy for the purpose of the story, Katy had this helium balloon that she acquired at the adventure park. And we're in the car, Jamie's driving, we're on our way back, and little Katy kept letting the balloon float in the front of the car in front of Jamie while Jamie was trying to drive. Now, the first time it happened, Jamie kindly told Katy to please keep the balloon in the back seat. Then Katy let the balloon float up again in front of Jamie, and Jamie said, "Katy, I don't want to have to tell you again, but please keep that balloon in the back seat with you." What do you think little Katy does? She thinks she's funny, and she lets the balloon drift in front of Jamie's face one more time. What's Jamie do? She rolls down the window, takes Katy's helium balloon, and whips the damn thing out on Highway 371. While Jamie liked to think of herself as the cool aunt, like Eddie Nelson, the woman also had clear limits on how much she'd put up with. Speaking of the Nelsons, I like to think Jamie had a soft spot for me as I lived with my dad and brother. And since Jamie grew up with all brothers, she understood what it was like to grow up around all boys. Jamie was always there on Halloween to do my hair and makeup to enhance my Halloween costume. Or when my dad decided that I needed a bowl cut, Jamie was there to remedy the situation and do what she could for school picture day. Jamie had that I don't give a damn attitude, an impeccable sense of humor, and definitely held the status of cool aunt. Yet something I will certainly remember about Jamie that was less pronounced, yet just as strong as her other qualities, was how she showed her love and care. Jamie's love was quiet and strong, and it didn't expect anything in return. When she hadn't seen me for a while and she asked me how things were going, she didn't just want some fluff answer, she genuinely wanted to know. When I moved away from home, Jamie would randomly send me a note in the mail with a card that said, "Pretty sure I forgot your birthday, here's 20 bucks, go buy yourself a bottle of wine," or something. Jamie was always good for a letter, a text, or an email when she hadn't heard from you in a while, just to check in and see how things were going. And to see really how big of a heart Jamie had and just how much she could love, we need look no further than to her beloved grandsons, Robert, Ian, and Rowan. Each of those boys meant the world to Jamie in their own special way, and I know that all her years as an aunt were only preparing her to be a grandma. Saying goodbye to Aunt Jamie is not easy. The pain in realizing that she's not here with us anymore really hurts. Knowing you can't just pick up the phone and call her if you wanted to. No more of her emails checking in on you, and no more of those ridiculous Facebook posts. I know for us Nelsons, we're all kind of panicking because we don't know who we're going to go to anymore to get the family gossip on each other. Jamie was kind of our central hub of information in that way. Yeah. But as we mourn the loss of Jamie, may we find comfort in knowing her soul's now at peace, and may we use this time gathered together to celebrate her life. Beyond what I know the speakers will all share up here, I know there's many stories in this room about Jamie waiting to be told. So please pay tribute today and tell your Jamie stories with one another, because I trust that if there's one thing that Jamie would wish for today, it would be laughter. Thanks.
She really is a good speaker, isn't she? Now, Jamie graduating class of 1968. And I think, Rick, you were part of that, weren't you?
No.
No, Kevin.
Yeah.
And Murray, Mary, where's Mary? And somebody else. No?
Bev. Right here.
Right. Well, there you are, right there. Oh, yeah. Because she used to hang around after school. Jamie wasn't in extracurricular activities, so she'd sneak out before she went to Dalton's or something. And I remember Bev or Mary and Peggy and maybe Sandy, they'd go out and drink Boone's Farm wine and smoke cigarettes. That was their extracurricular activity. Not every day, not every day. And she talked about, Kelly talked about Ish. The other nickname she had was that goddamn dog. But Kelly, she's a class girl and she won't talk like that. But also the teachers, Peg James used to teach up there many years ago. Roger Strandley, Al Moss is out there. Thought we had somebody else. Yeah, I'm forgetting too. See how I'm trying to draw people into it? Gary, you were older than her. You weren't in her class, were you? Okay. Jamie spent a lot of time in this building, not this actual building, but for those of you that have been around more than 15 years or so, the old Chase building. And she worked there for many, many years. And she worked with a lot of people at the Chase for many, many years. And one of her favorites was Katy. And I think, Katy, you're going to say something, aren't you? I don't want to get you off guard here, but Katy, Chase Hotel, but there's no connection, right?
No connection.
But people always say that, and she took full advantage of it. But I'll let Katy tell you about it, and I'll clean up anything you missed, because those were some exciting times for some of these people.
So we cleaned up this a lot last night with the help of my daughter and my friend Jill Alettos, who Jamie worked for years for the Alettos here at the time that I worked here. So thank you, Jill, for letting me share. It's really an honor. Sorry. Jamie was the most amazing friend. Everyone here I know knew her in such different ways. I was one of the lucky ones to know her as part of the group that reigned in Walker. We did reign in Walker during the 80s and beyond. Jamie, Hazel Cleghorn, Bina Erickson, Sandy Richardson, Pat Kelly, Kathy Aletto, Jeannie Berg-Skizik, and me. There were 8 of us. Now there are only 2. We shared birthdays, births, funerals, weddings, holidays, and any other excuse on the calendar to celebrate. When I called my kids to let them know that Jamie died, my son said, "There's no such thing as having too much fun. Don't go there." We had each other's backs. We had each other's backs. We were 8 women. We never, ever fought. We laughed until our stomachs hurt. We decided we never needed to do sit-ups, not that any of us would have probably anyway, but we laughed enough, you know, it worked at that time, it's not working anymore. And as Jamie once so truly stated, we've been kicked out of better places than this. When someone might have thought that our laughter was too loud, or didn't appreciate the fake hand in the wine bucket that we called Bob, or the snake bomb lit at the inn at the Y, sorry guys. Somehow some firecrackers that were lit got thrown in the bar at Forest View one time. And the hole that we burnt in Phil Kelly's deck, I think his boys tell me that it's still there. And the hatchet that was brought out to cut a cake one time at the 200 Club. That was my cake for my birthday, and it was actually a styrofoam cake, you know, with the frost, you know.
It was a sponge cake, Katy.
It was not. It was a fake. We were simply about having fun, love, and support. We helped each other through times we thought we would never get through. Like the time teenage Jill didn't come home one night and Jamie was beside herself. It was winter and something about a car dying on the ice. Jill, it was, yeah, it was not good. Jamie, yeah, she was really afraid. But, you know, we make it through those times. That's what friends are for. Jamie and Kathy were great writers, as you all know, and they chronicled the group at almost every gathering. We have poems, which are almost books, and there's a book up here of pictures from group times with all kinds of predictions that Jamie made about each one of us for New Year's. I'm not going to read the whole poem because, as Jamie states in here, it's almost turned into a book. But if you want to read it, I gave Jill a copy of the full one too, because the first part of the poem is really, you'd have to have really known us in the 80s to get it. Like, it's a lot of inside jokes, you know. Some of you would get it, some of you are like, what is she talking about? So, anyway, so Jamie wrote this one. There were so many. And this was before computers, you know, and before Facebook and texting and all that. So this is actually her handwriting and calligraphy, and it's illustrated very nicely, as you can see. So you'll have to look at it later. This one Jamie wrote for Bina's birthday in 1985. And like I said, this is just the last part of it, because as we were looking at it again last night, the last part felt like she was writing her own eulogy in a way. It's just so Jamie. So this is about the group. Our lunches are spontaneous. Sometimes they last till 4. And one time it was 9 p.m. before we found the door. We've celebrated birthdays, farewells, and welcome back. We've celebrated Christmas with presents in a stack. We've met in bars and cheap cafes and on the foamy brine. We've looked at pictures of naked men and drank Sandy's homemade wine. We've used cups of boiling water to make a little zoo, and plastic flies have been our guests at many parties too. We've partied with the best of folks, and sometimes with the worst. We've laughed when Kathy walked this way until I thought we'd burst. And now's the time to make some notes of dates you must remember. A list of things we'll celebrate from now till next December. Besides September birthdays, for which we are so chipper, let's party for Rosh Hashanah and celebrate Yom Kippur. October brings us Halloween and then the harvest moon. We'll cheer United Nations Day. We'll meet for lunch at noon. We give thanks in November for blessings sent our way. Jeannie gets a year older, and there's also Veterans Day. In December, we deck the halls and sing fa la la la. No birthdays this month, but happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year in January, and Old Lang Syne will sing. One only birthday this month is Martin Luther King. Valentine's Day we'll celebrate in the shortest month of the year, and birthdays for Lincoln, Washington, and Pat will give us reason to cheer. We march on to St. Patrick's Day. The party will be dandy. This month we also celebrate a birthday honoring Sandy. In March of 1986, we'll find an addition to Sandy's Fun Day. We celebrate Good Friday and Palm and Easter Sunday. In April, Leighton, who's Katy, another year older, will get. It's also time to brush upon distributor show etiquette. Some of you know what that was. May honors mothers in a special way, and the whole town goes crazy on opening day. Jamie's birthday we'll celebrate in some fun new way. Then we pause for a moment for Memorial Day. June will mean summer with a special day for Dad. Flag Day we can celebrate, for that we can be glad. August has no holidays on record at this time.